Está no ar o FuiCast, o maior podcast de transplante capilar do Brasil. E hoje estamos aqui diretamente do World Fui com essa fenômeno das redes sociais e também uma das maiores referências mundiais em transplante capilar afro. Doutora Mina, sim, seja muito bem-vinda aqui no nosso podcast. É uma honra te receber aqui. Para vocês que não acompanham o canal dela, ela, além de apresentadora de um canal de televisão do TLC, ela faz o quadro Bad Hair Day. Bad Hair Day. E também tem no Max TV, da pele ao cabelo. Então a gente vai deixar inclusive o link aqui para vocês. Eu já acompanhei todos, agora é a vez de vocês. Seja muito bem-vinda.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here in Brazil, back in the country that I love so much. This is my fourth time now in Brazil.
Fourth time.
Yes.
Now you are Brazilian.
I'm basically Brazilian. Yes.
You have to get
Brazilian.
your CPF, you know.
I know what that
Social
means now.
security
Yeah.
number.
Yes.
Social security.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you have rights,
Ask the
Brazil.
government nicely for me.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for
for having
accept our invite to be here, and we'd like to start with a question for the beginners. How do you think it's the better way to start in hair transplant, in Afro hair transplant?
Yes. So Afro hair, I was saying this when I was giving my talk. In America or the United States, we call it something else. Our nomenclature is a little bit different. I think here in Brazil, you say Afro hair, which
Yes.
means people of African descent, the type of hair they have.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the United States, Afro hair is a hairstyle.
It's a
really?
hairstyle.
Yeah,
Okay.
we call it like ethnic hair or curly texture hair,
yeah.
Afro texture hair.
All right.
But like Afro is a hairstyle where we just
okay.
take our natural hair and pick it out and make it as big as possible. And it's meant to defy gravity and stay out. So today, for our podcast, I try to give myself an Afro.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's a style.
It's a
Yeah.
style.
Okay.
But
Style.
for Afro hair transplant,
Uh-huh.
it's a lot more challenging. It's a lot more difficult because you can imagine with straight hair, everything's going to be faster, more streamlined. You know, you're almost working in 2 dimension, like this, just straight up and down.
Yes.
With Afro textured hair, it exits the scalp in a spiral, and the curl underneath the skin is going to be different shapes. It can be like a J, it can be a C, it can be an O. So basically, underneath the skin, it can look like this, or this, you can see on the camera, or like this. That's very hard because when you're doing follicular unit extraction, you're doing almost a blind extraction, right? You're not doing it under a microscope. It's blind. And so the tips for beginners would be always do test punches so that you can determine in each part of the scalp what's the shape. Is it a J, C, or an O? Do very small cases first.
What's our device?
I'm using right now the WAW, W-A-W.
Do you
from
prefer the
Belgium.
Trivellini? Have you ever tried?
You know,
or
I
no?
haven't had the opportunity to try it, and I have had good success with the WA, and it's very nice perifollicular tissue. They're not naked
Mhm.
grafts, so I prefer it, and for me, it's very easy to use. I think for beginners, it's very, very easy. But I'm sure with the other devices too, I just haven't used them. I've used Sharp Punch in the past before. It was very, very challenging with curly hair, and
With
I was
Sharp,
trained.
yeah.
Yeah, I was
Very
trained on the robotic device as well.
Oh, really?
Yes, very, very challenging. And in women, because you had to shave so much of the back of the head, the robot was very challenging for female patients.
Artists?
Artists, correct.
Eu vou perguntar em português porque a audiência provavelmente vai ficar na dúvida. Conta um pouco pra gente da sua trajetória. Eu sei que você tem uma carreira médica brilhante. Você formou em Harvard? Não foi?
Thank you for saying it was brilliant, but yes, thank you. Okay, so I went to Harvard Medical School, and then when I was there, I discovered that I was interested in dermatology. I did have 2 children while in medical school,
Really?
so that was very challenging.
Oh.
Yes, and I raised them on
2
my
girls?
own. 2 girls, yes. And at the time, and still now, dermatology is one of the hardest medical specialties in America, United States, to become accepted into residency. So anyhow, luckily, I was able to matriculate into dermatology residency. And then when I was in residency, one of the main reasons that women in particular sought out dermatologic care was hair loss. And so I just figured maybe I should learn about hair loss. So I did my dermatology residency at Mayo Clinic. It's a nice hospital system in the United States. And there we did not see many patients with brown ethnic skin, like nobody. So I did a separate rotation in New York City where I could learn more about skin of color. And at the time, scarring alopecia, traction alopecia, those forms of hair loss were predominant. And so I did a separate dermatology fellowship with a well-known hair transplant surgeon to learn about how to fix the hair once the medical options were gone.
Really?
And so I was very lucky. He also has an ISHRS fellowship, the International Society of Hair Restoration Surgery. So after I completed that program, I did a 1-year fellowship with him where I learned hair transplant. And that was back in 2012. And so ever since then, I've been doing hair transplant, and like half and half follicular unit transplant with the strip excision, and then more so FUE now over time as it's become more developed, and we have better techniques for curly hair. The main reason is because people with curly hair seek me out because they know that I have, you know, a lot of experience and technical experience in curly hair, but I do everybody. But you know, straight hair is so much easier.
Yes,
So
it is.
it's no reason for me to talk about it because everyone's doing it. It's so much easier. I think with Afro textured hair, it's just a lot more challenging. So you obviously want to see people that have a lot more experience.
O Brasil é um país muito grande, é um país continental, e na minha região tem uma particularidade de ter, né, de encontrar o cabelo crespo muito mais comumente do que, por exemplo, pela rotina que a gente conversa, do que os meninos, do que Paulo e Maurício. Então, como você também acabou desenvolvendo e as pessoas lhe reconhecendo por isso e lhe indicando muito, naturalmente, por eu estar nessa região, que é a região Nordeste, uma região mais ao norte do Brasil, eu tenho uma familiaridade muito grande também. E é impressionante as particularidades para esse caso. Por exemplo, para um cabelo fino, eu faço minhas extrações ou excisões teste em 5 a 10 unidades foliculares. Agora, em cabelo crespo, eu já tive que ultrapassar 100, facilmente 200 unidades foliculares para eu pegar o jeito exatamente de fazer aquela extração.
Yes.
Normalmente, algumas particularidades que eu poderia dizer aqui, mas que eu quero ouvir de você, que é a grande especialista, por exemplo, utilizar um punch menos profundo. Eu percebi que o cabelo afro, ele lembra muito o folículo da barba, por exemplo, né? Que você, ao inserir o punch numa profundidade muito menor, esse cabelo já se expõe, né? Já se expressa ali em relação à pele. Como se o músculo piloeretor, daquela característica ali, ele fosse também um pouco mais superficial, mais próximo à epiderme do que de fato ali mais distante da derme profunda. Existe mais alguma particularidade técnica sobre esse tipo de extração que você possa compartilhar conosco?
Okay, so I completely agree with you. It is so much more challenging. And each part of the scalp is going to have different characteristics. So while you're at the temples, the parietal area, the hairs are thinner and more superficial. So if you go too deep, you could be missing, okay, so, you know, if you go too deep and say you're going perpendicular, you might be missing the rest of the curl. So you have to go sometimes perpendicular, sometimes acute, and just go shallow, and then it pops right out. In other areas, closer to the top of the more superior aspect of the crown, you have to go deeper because the hairs end up being longer, and sometimes the curl sometimes is straighter. So yes, I 100% agree. Each section of the scalp is completely different. And so every time I move from section to section, even exactly what you said, even if you're just doing maybe 300 extraction in the area, you have to do tests in each spot because I've noticed more superiorly on the occiput, I have to go deeper because the hairs tend to be longer for some reason, and the curl is completely different. And the other thing is that because the curls are going in different directions, I'm having to change my angle. Even if I'm in the same section, even the central aspect of the occiput, I have to change my angle as I go. But I will say one thing that has helped a lot is to kind of so I use a hybrid punch like I mentioned, but to let the punch kind of rotate around the curl on its own. With straight hair, you just use ergonomic, straight up and down, right? With curly hair, it's more helpful to let it fall around the curl as you go because for some reason it compasses the curl better.
Ah, very nice, this technique. Vou falar em português. Eu vi uma aula, acho que foi da doutora Laura Caicedo, você conhece ela? Ela não está aqui presente,
Espanhola, né?
ela é da Espanha, eu acho. Ela falou na última aula dela exatamente sobre isso, que de todos os punts que ela já usou ao redor do mundo, do Trivellini e também do James DeVroy, que é o do Wall, o Hybrid Punch, para ela, na opinião dela, é o melhor de todos para poder fazer de fato o cabelo afro, por conta de exatamente de acompanhar a curvatura. E quando o fio ele é muito crespo, ele é muito encurvado, ele tem um ângulo para dentro, o punch, literalmente, por ter a aba quase 90 graus, ele consegue divulsionar bem. E o grande erro dos médicos era que quanto mais curvo, mais superficial você tem que ir com o punch, segundo a opinião dela e a técnica dela, em vez de você aprofundar com a mão. Então, uma outra técnica, né, quando eu pego um caso que o cabelo ele é um pouco mais encurvado, a aspiração eu uso mamba. É muito mais fácil, porque ele consegue dar uma divulsionada melhor, na minha opinião, para poder ajudar no caso. Exato, ele externaliza mais o folículo.
E um ponto muito interessante é que eu consigo fazer essa comparação quase que de forma direta. Resultados de cabelo muito finos, que eu precisaria utilizar 5.000, 5.500, que é uma realidade muito nossa aqui do Brasil, em unidades foliculares, passem com 2.500, 3.000 unidades foliculares, eu consigo entregar resultados no mesmo padrão quando eu estou falando, né, do cabelo crespo, do cabelo afro. Então, essa é uma particularidade que conta a favor. Como a extração tem o seu ponto negativo, tem esse outro lado, né, que conta muito mais positivamente, né, em favor do resultado.
I 100% agree. So I'll address what you were saying first. So when you have to go more superficially, it's challenging because sometimes they'll pop right up, but sometimes you have to use more force when you're extracting, and then you get more naked curls. And so obviously you want as good of perifollicular tissue as possible.
Na coleta.
Yes. And then with regards to what you're saying, although it may be more challenging and take more time with the extractions and just be more cumbersome and more fatiguing for us, we don't have to give as many grafts. The density can be much lower because our perceived density and the caliber of hair covers so much more territory. So like I was saying when I was giving my talk, look at my hair. If I was to straighten it, it would look like I had very little hair, right? And so you can take 500 of my hairs and throw it, in an area, it would look like I would have 1,500, right?
Yes,
and so we're able to give better perceived density without having to do as many grafts, which is nice because sometimes, and I talked about this as well, the density is quite low. Our density is very, very low. When you shave our head, you see that you can't take 1 out of 3 hairs. Sometimes you can only do 1 out of 5 hairs because the density is so low. However, just for the same reason, even when you take high density in the back, the curls cover up the loss. So, but you always have to be sure not to over harvest, right? But still, it's all balancing with the caliber of the curl.
Eu queria pedir para você algumas dicas para o pessoal que está nos acompanhando e está em casa sobre, na verdade, a sua visão por ter essa experiência grande com esse tipo de caso, se de fato vale a pena, qual é a densidade ideal, se você começa, por exemplo, pré-incisão ou começa sempre por extração, ou cada caso é um caso, e quando vai fazer pré-incisão, por exemplo, porque eu não sei se você usa esse método, qual que é a densidade que você considera ali ideal, ou a partir daquilo você acha que já não vale mais a pena, porque não faz muito sentido, que já vai dar uma cobertura legal?
Okay, so first we need to discuss the size and diameter of the punch, right? If we're doing larger size punch to encompass a really, really, coily C or O hair, then you can't do a higher density extraction because of potential for over harvesting. And, we are at greater risk with the larger size punch for the hypopigmented spots.
Yes.
And so they look like small scars. Mm-hmm. And so if we can get away with doing a smaller size punch while not transecting the hairs, and usually the J, so if this is the scalp and it's just a J, which basically straight and then a little bit of curl size, shape, then those we can do a smaller size punch, and then you can go 1 to every 3 hairs, 1 to every 4 hairs. But if I'm using a size 1 millimeter punch or greater, sometimes I have to use a 1.2 millimeter punch. Yeah, for the O, like if it's an O underneath, you have to imagine, you have to just take the whole thing out because you have no idea where the rest of the curl is. You just have to try to grab it. It's blind. Yeah. And so I can only go 1 every 5 hairs, sometimes fewer, especially because the density and people that have really, really tight coiled hair is so low, you can't get away with doing as high density of harvesting. So that really limits the final outcome, right? And you have to really talk about expectation. But like we said, the curlier and the kinkier and coilier the hair, it actually will cover better anyhow.
Oh,
Eu tenho uma pergunta. Mina, I'm gonna say in English what the bad hair day show means and how does it start?
Okay, so it's a reality TV show in America that aired like last year, the year before. And I think it aired here in Brazil last year. So it was nice because I was dubbed in Portuguese and my voice sounded very, very nice. So hopefully he can do the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the title was a little unfortunate because it's Bad Hair Day, such a negative connotation. But the whole point is people who did not have a good experience with what they were going through and struggling with their hair, we turned it around. So we did really nice cases where we could get a really good before and after. So we did a small case of traction alopecia. And it was a woman who's in the American military. So you have to wear your hair really tight, back and slick, and then her entire temporal hairline was just completely depleted. And so we did a very small case, just 1,500 grafts, but the before and after was 6 months later, and it was a completely different person. One of the other big ones that we did, it was just several episodes, but one of the main ones that was really life-changing was a woman with severe hirsutism. A woman of African descent with severe hirsutism. And so she actually went viral because she showed that how it was ruining her life, and she couldn't date or have a significant other. So very quickly we removed it with laser and did medical treatments, and within 6 months, no beard, she had a whole relationship. She had written a book. She accomplished more than I ever have in the 6 months just with revealing the self-esteem. Yeah, so it was a really nice show because it was feel good. It was like no drama. It was very nice medical TV where we took patients who were really, it's real. It was like struggling and then like very nice, happy results and life-changing results. So it was a really nice show. It was just one season, several episodes. Yes.
Are you waiting the second?
É.
You got to talk to the producers.
Estamos aqui caminhando para o final e eu estou muito, muito feliz de ter você aqui conosco. Eu acho que o pessoal que está em casa não vai aguentar todos esses episódios maravilhosos que a gente está trazendo aqui. Para a gente é uma honra, mais uma vez.
Novos colegas para acompanhar, novos quadros para conhecer, novos
Exatamente.
programas, novos canais no YouTube.
Eu acho que vai ter muito, muito entretenimento, além de conhecimento, que é o que a gente está passando aqui, né? Falando de um tema que a gente gosta tanto. E obrigado por ter aceitado o nosso convite, por estar aqui conosco.
Thank you for
Foi
having
uma
me.
honra.
Muito
Obrigado mesmo. Pessoal que está em casa, queria agradecer também, mais uma vez, por esse episódio incrível. E não deixe de acompanhar a gente no Instagram, no nosso canal, o @fue.cast. O meu pessoal no Instagram, @dr Maurício Reis.
@dr.eliacioli, Acioli com 2 Cs e Y no final.
@dr.paulo Miorali.
And your Instagram.
At Dr. Meena Singh, DrMeena SINGH.
Thank
you so much. It's fun. Oh my gosh, we could do this like all day.
Yes. Thank you so much, pessoal. Obrigado, até a próxima.